Hi. Hi, I'm Shativa Stills,
Hi, I'm Shamir Hurt.
here with Unique TV Productions. I'm here with Amanda Wilson.
Detective Wilson.
So, Ms. Wilson, I heard you went through the SYEP program.
I sure did. Went through the first year that it started. Summer Youth Employment Program started in 1992 in that hot summer.
Yes, I was with SYEP from 1992 to 1996, and then I actually became a supervisor. My second year in college, I came back home and I was actually a supervisor for a group of 15.
How was your experience there?
We had a pretty good experience. The first year, we cleaned the alleys.
Just cleaning alleys, so I guess we were like manual labor.
I know it's expanded a lot to where you guys are now doing broadcasting and cleaning the parks and in the offices, but first year was definitely in the alleys.
To putting tan bark around trees.
Tan bark.
And it sounds easy, but when you have to carry 50 pounds of tan bark and then pick it up and dump it around trees, you know, we were in great shape, unlike today, but we did everything. If it was raining and we couldn't make it to the alleys, they'd take us over to the recycling center. We would have to clean up the recycling center. Or once we even had to clean up the garbage garage over by the Civic Center, and we had, you know, bugs and mice and everything. And so we did everything we possibly could. They kept us busy. And we also attended classes Friday afternoons.
The second year, we cleaned around all of Evanston's parks, as well as the alleys, including beaches, all the public parks and picnic areas. We met a lot of good people. We clipped branches. We had heavy garbage cans that we had to carry, and we cleaned and raked up garbage with our hands. They gave us like these gloves that we had to use, and we always had to get some new gloves because they'd be worn out and dirty and stanky. So we did a lot. We did a lot of cleaning. We worked real hard.
Did you enjoy that experience?
We had a good time.
I loved the experience. I think it was probably one of the best experiences that I ever had because it prepared me for so much.
So did the SYEP program prepare you for what you're doing now as an officer?
The SYEP program prepares people to be responsible, being to work on time, clocking in on time so that you don't get docked, being responsible for your actions, because if you cut up in the program and you acted out or did some type of behavior that was unacceptable, you got fired, you got written up.
I think it prepared me for life.
Prepares you kind of to be an adult and to get ready for work, what to expect in work.
And with that comes, you know, my job now. But we had to be on time. We had to show respect. You know, they gave us laws that we had to go by, or rules, you know, from anything from personal hygiene to just showing up on time. So it taught us so much, and you didn't realize it when you're 13, 14, up to 18 years old. But when you get hired at a real job, it was so much easier because of what they put us through when we were kids, and we appreciate it so much.
So were they hard on you back then, though?
Yes, they were. They were hard, but in a loving sort of way. It was like a family. I mean, the friends that we had then, I still see them now. You know, no matter what we're doing, we can always go back to the times on that one bus. We had one yellow bus, and they packed us in there, and it was hot. You know, there was no AC. We had to pull those windows down, and they would drop us off in the worst alley. But after seeing, you know, the alley when we showed up compared to when we left, it was a huge difference. And, you know, you got to appreciate what doing a job, actually, you could see it visibly, and it was great. So we loved it.
Did you always want to be a police officer?
Well, I actually didn't grow up with dreams of becoming a police officer.
No.
When I was working on my master's degree, I was working at the police department, and I ended up applying to be a police officer because I seen it was about community service. It's more about giving back to the community, especially here in Evanston. Since I grew up here, you want to help people, but you also have to protect the city as well.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. I was always a fan of sports. And then I went to college and I actually have a degree in broadcast journalism, or in communications. And I did broadcast journalism in college for a few years, and I loved it. So I know what you're doing, and I know that 3 minutes of airtime could take 8 hours of work. And but then I came home, and one of my parents told me that Evanston needed me, and I'm here, and I'm glad I'm doing what I'm doing, because this is where I'm from.
Do you enjoy being a police officer?
I do. Being a police officer here in Evanston is very, very rewarding. Sometimes you hate coming through and seeing stuff happen here in the city, but it is rewarding when you see people from 5 years ago who you've ran into and they tell you that you've helped them some type of way in their lives, some type of way. And it's also helpful when you go to a call as a police officer and you're able to kind of diffuse a situation without it getting really out of control because the people here know you. So it helps.
What is your rank?
I'm a detective.
I am, juvenile officer, juvenile detective, patrol.
Do you work at Evanston High School as being an officer? Like, what do you do?
As a school resource officer, juvenile officer here for Evanston Police Department, and the school resource officer for Evanston Township High School.
No, I'm a detective with the Evanston Police Department, so I work all over Evanston. I did graduate from Evanston Township in '96, but I work everywhere, from Isabella to Howard Street. So I'm in the detective bureau, and we solve everything that, whether it's cold cases or batteries or even homicides occasionally, which are unfortunate, but that's what I do.
Okay, well, thank you for your time.
No problem.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
African-American woman on being a police officer on the force.
Well, at Evanston, it's easier for me because I'm from here. I know the people. I know the areas. Everything that you've done or doing now, I've already done. So it's easy for me to relate to you as well as someone who's been here forever. So it hasn't been too much of a challenge. You have your days. But overall, I think that Evanston's pretty much a progressive department. So we don't have too many issues where me being a woman or me being an African-American woman holds me back in any type of way. And if it did, I think that I'm strong enough and was raised well enough where I could be able to overcome that without a problem.
And just to add to that, being a woman and sometimes, being a black woman here, African American, we are looked at a little bit as kind of like the matriarchs, like mothers to some of the youth here and to just people here because we've been here for so long. I was at a police department before Evanston out in the south suburbs where, it wasn't as diverse. It was a little bit different. And, no matter where you go, it's pretty much the same thing. You always need, mama there. So it's kind of like that.
What was the worst thing that happened in Evanston, and how did you take care of it?
Well, I don't know if I can say what the worst thing, but I would say anytime someone passes away, in whatever the situation is, to have someone lose their life, that is probably the most difficult. And being from here and knowing so many people, we're only so many degrees of separation. So if something happens, I'm usually connected. If there's an offender, we probably grew up with them. We might have been in the summer youth employment program with them. So sometimes it hits us where it might not hit another officer, or we may think a little further than what some officers may think because we're so connected to where we're from. So that would probably be the hardest, when there's someone and something tragic happens. That's when it becomes a little difficult, but I think we're both professionals and, we deal with it accordingly.
Tasha actually summed it up pretty good. It does probably hit us a lot harder than everybody else when you're actually from here, grew up here, lived here pretty much all your life. It makes it, a little bit easier to talk to people, though, dealing with the situations with the family, with friends who know these people, because they may not reach out to somebody else at the police department, but they may reach out to somebody like Tasha or myself. Tasha has a large family, so she might even be related to some of the, a lot of people. But regardless, it does help when we are from here. It kind of will help us sometimes solve crimes. Actually, some things have happened recently where, because of Tasha, knowledge of, some of the individuals, it has helped, like, solve some additional crimes, like lately, last month, too. Yeah.
So is this a hard job? Like, do you guys have any, like, sometimes difficulties with it?
I don't have too many difficulties with it. I actually enjoy it because I can stop by mostly any corner in the city and just have a conversation with people, because I think being real and being yourself makes you a good police officer. I don't take anything personally. Once I'm done with the case, I have to move on. You know, I don't hold anything, you know, to heart. So I don't think it's difficult. It has its difficult moments, but overall I don't think the job is difficult.
I think the most difficult thing for me, which is not going to, you know, stop me from doing my job, is arresting somebody that that I know. That's difficult to me personally, but professionally in my job, that's what I have to do. People know that if I have to arrest them, it's because they have to go to jail. And I treat everybody fairly, and that's it. That's one of the key things to doing this job. You treat everybody with respect and you treat everybody fairly, and usually when that happens, things will fall in your corner. You have to be able to just be able to communicate with people and relate to people, and I think that's one of the big things that has helped Tasha and I out, because you know we're true to ourselves, so we're actually best friends too. So I mean it Haven, exactly. Since 1991, a year before we got in the program. So it does help.
Thank you for your time. This is Tiva Stills here with Unique TV. We're wrapping up with both Officer Wilson and Detective Wilson.